What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at another Star Wars Black Series figure. We have got the AT-AT Driver, or is it Pilot? Let's find out. All right, so here's our packaging, and usually I don't do packaging for Black Series because, they're all the same, but just to point it out because there are packaging variants for this guy, this is the reason why he has the variant. So on the packaging, he is called the Pilot here, and there are other boxes out there that say Driver. Pilot, I believe, is the first one, and then they fixed it with the Driver. I only have the Pilot version. It's just a word, though. If I do find one, I'm definitely going to grab him, but I've never actually seen this guy in a store, so I've only gotten him online. Other than that, though, standard packaging, window box with a write-up on the back. He's number 31 in the series. 31. So let's pull him out and we will take a closer look. All right, so here's our AT-AT Driver, or AT-AT if you prefer. And I'm going to say right off the bat that I am slightly partial to this figure because I've always liked the look and the design of this particular trooper. That said, it's still a standard Black Series figure, so I'm going to have some nitpicky things to say about it. But I think from an initial perspective, I think he's a pretty cool figure. He's got some cool new designs, new sculpting on him, just an overall good look about him. So we're going to start with articulation first, and there's nothing special here. It's all standard Black Series. The head is on a ball, and it can swivel and go up and down. It is, however, hindered by these tubes because they are attached to the helmet, which are then attached to the chest plate. So he's not going to go too terribly far. He's also going to hit them on the side, but it's also not going to make his articulation really any worse than usual. He's not going to rotate his head around backwards anyway, so it's not a huge deal. His head does go up and down. The tubes will hit the shoulders when you try to go too far up, though. Arms can go all the way out. He does have these shoulder pads. They are going to get in the way just a little bit, but not too much. They tend to go under the helmet there, so that's a good bonus there. Arms can swivel. They go all around. And then we have our single jointed elbow. Single jointed elbow. We've got a rotation and a hinge at the wrist. There is no bicep swivel on this guy. He has a twist at the diaphragm, and there isn't really a crunch there of any kind. And then his legs go about only that far, and that I'm not entirely sure if it's because of the straps or not. It seems to be mostly due to the sculpt and the joint used. There is a thigh cut. There are double jointed knees, as is standard for Black Series. And we do not have any kind of boot or shin swivel. He has a rocker and a hinge at the ankle. So like I said, very standard stuff, nothing too crazy. But he's an Imperial Walker driver. So I'm not sure you're going to put him into too many crazy positions. I'm mostly just going to have him probably standing still holding his gun. So I'm not upset in that regard, and it's mostly what I expected. So not a detriment to the figure there. As far as the sculpt goes, I'm pretty pleased with him. This character, this trooper design is kind of reminiscent of, a stormtrooper crossed with a TIE pilot in some aspects. The tubes, the chest piece, the more fabric type of outfit rather than full armor. But then, of course, the helmet is very stormtrooper-esque, but also TIE pilot-esque at the same time. So I'm very partial to that design. I like it. I think it looks good, and I think it's executed pretty well here. There are a lot of little bits and pieces all over him. The tubes, the back plate, the chest piece, which is really well sculpted, got a lot of detail on it, and it looks good. The pants have a lot of line work in them, so it's not just flat, quote-unquote, fabric in the plastic. And then his jumpsuit has got some line work in the stomach, chest area as well. So I think he looks pretty good, and I'm overall pleased with him. I think he looks the part. This looks like what you remember from Empire Strikes Back for about 14 and a half seconds, doesn't it? Yeah. As far as paint goes, he is mostly various molded plastics, but there is obviously some paint here. We've got paint on the gloves, and then we've got some paint on the chest piece here on the pack, which is pretty clean. I'm very, very pleased with it. It's not sloppy. It looks good. There's a lot of different colors here. We've got golds, silvers, whites, reds, blacks, and it looks pretty solid. The back is painted as well, reds, whites, and blacks. Again, very clean. The tubes at the top are painted. They've got red pinstriping and some black on them. The helmet's got paint. And then, of course, the Imperial insignias are red on the helmet. So overall, it looks good. I mean, they used paint where they needed to without going crazy on it, and the rest is just kind of a molded plastic, but it looks good. It's got the light gray and white mix of colors. So in that regard, I think he looks pretty solid. As far as his accessories goes, he has one accessory. He just has the standard Stormtrooper blaster. This is the more recent one with the silver accent on it, but otherwise it's the same sculpt we've had for a while. He can hold it in both hands because he does come with two trigger finger style hands. This one is more closed, this one is more open, so this is he's practicing trigger control pretty well in this hand, and he would be gripping the trigger in this one. But that's pretty much it. You can hold it. You can get him to do, you know, one of these numbers if you're so inclined, if you can get his arm to go correctly. You know, this is going to stop him from doing a whole lot in terms of articulation, just because he doesn't have the joints there to really do much. So I'm probably going to have him displayed kind of like this, maybe. I've got another one. I'll have him side by side. But he looks good. I think this is a pretty solid figure. I'm a sucker for troopers. If I could find these in the store, I would honestly have more of them, but I've only ever gotten them on the internet. So, you know, if you can track him down, you're obviously going to want to get him. He's a good filler type character for the line. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this guy. Like I said, he's a standard kind of troop building, you know, a figure you're going to want to get multiples of if you can afford it. And he looks good. He looks the part. He fits well with stormtroopers and TIE pilots and other troopers. The only thing that I wish we would get, and it's not a fault with this figure, is that I need a General Veers at this point, because I need him with a few AT-AT drivers surrounding him. Other than that, though, I think it's a solid entry in the line. He looks cool, looks menacing, and I love the design. So like I said, I'm partial to AT-AT drivers for whatever reason. I just think they look cool, and I think Hasbro did a good job of making this figure representative of that look. So that is going to do it for this review, everyone. As always, stay tuned to Toy Bro for more. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.